Let's start with traffic jam assist, shall we? So this is the Mazda 3 2.5 turbo. You can see that my hands are not on the wheel and it is correcting for itself. It's also slowing down for me, so my feet are off the brake and the gas, but it's asking me to put my hands on the wheel. Interesting fact about the traffic jam assist system in this car, it only works under 40 miles per hour. So it's literally just for traffic. You can see that the car is starting to roll for me. So again, no hands, no feet. It is doing a pretty good job. This radar cruise control system works at any speed. So, you can set your cruise control towards the maximum speed of the car. It will do radar cruise. You can also change the distance of the car in front of you to the front of this car by its kind of following distance. And we'll see that if I set it higher, the car should lane keep on its own, yep, and it will also slow down. So it does a pretty decent job. This is nice if you're driving in LA traffic, which is a very popular thing here in LA. But anyways, let's get into the more interesting parts, and that is driving this car a little bit faster. Hope you enjoyed the video. So this, in my mind, was a successor to the Mazda Speed 3, but I can tell you right now it is not. And I would not classify this car as a hot hatch competitor to something like the VW GTI or the Mini Cooper S or the Focus ST or RS, Golf R, things of that sort. This car is very smooth. It's very linear. It's very premium now compared to especially the feeling of the Mazda Speed 3. It's more like an Aston Martin than it is like a boy racer hatchback. And no, I don't mean to compare this car to an Aston Martin. One just drove by. I'm just saying that this feels more like a luxury car with power than it does a sports car. And what I mean by that is it's missing drama, and also it's definitely not driver oriented in terms of enthusiastic driving. So for instance, when I downshift, hopefully you guys can see in the gauge cluster, one, it goes back to automatic mode very quickly, and you can knock it over here on the side. But two, the actual signage for which gear you're in is very, very small. And so that's inside the gauge cluster. You can't really tell what gear you're in, and also because of the engine noise, which isn't much, it's hard to tell what is going on with the car. But in terms of the handling, it does a very good job. With the all-wheel drive, it can handle corners at fairly high speeds, and it's really good in that. Now, a linear thing that I want to talk about is the braking. So right now I'm going to let off the brakes completely, and I'm going to just put my foot down pretty heavily on the brakes. You can see that it's very gradually slowing the car down, and even right there I pushed hard, and it doesn't chomp down on the brakes. It is more like a slow motion bite into a juicy burger or an apple, something of that sort. So the car is very smooth, and I've found that to be the truth about the driving experience in its entirety. Even when you're driving more spiritedly, there's almost no exhaust noise. It seems like it's just a pumped kind of active designed sound, similar to the BMWs and a lot of other cars. VW has the Soundaktor system in it. I get it. They want to keep the cars fairly quiet, but there's not much induction noise, there's not much exhaust noise. And what I found the most interesting about this car is it actually feels genuinely heavy. So it weighs about 3,300 pounds, closer to 3,400. And off the line, even though it has a 0 to 60 of 5.9 seconds supposedly, and I believe Car and Driver tested 5.8, it doesn't feel fast at all. It is definitely very torquey. It's got 320 pound-feet of torque, 250 horsepower, but this car just feels like a luxury car that has power, just like I said before. And don't get me wrong, it definitely feels fantastic. So all these materials are very soft. This armrest here for the center console slides back and forth. The steering wheel is very nice and also heated. There's a heated steering wheel button there. The turn signals, you can even change the sound volume level of the turn signal if it bothers you. It also has active radar cruise control, which works at all speeds. It has lane keeping assist, but that only works below 40 miles an hour, which I found very interesting. So you actually can't use the kind of hands-free steering assist when you're on the highway going above 40. So it's called traffic jam assist in the Mazda, so it only helps you in traffic, which is still a nice feature to have. But I do find that in terms of the design, it is a beautiful car on the exterior. I really like the materials inside, and it looks great in here. The gauge cluster is a little bit busy for me. There are 3 gauges here. The tach, almost useless because the car is so quiet. So if I put it in first gear, that's all just like an animated sound. That is digital. I don't believe that's real at all. So the gauge cluster could use less information in it. I would say there's a lot going on. But now I want to move on to the practicality of the car. So The car has space for 4 adults for sure. If everyone's under 6 foot, I'm 5'8". I can fit pretty comfortably behind myself. The rear seats have a cutout. There's an indent here so that you do have some decent knee room. The headroom is definitely tight. I am 5'8" only, and the rear bench seems like it's a little bit high for some reason, because I found myself having only a few inches of headroom, which I have here anyways, and this seat I have lowered quite a bit. The sunroof is very nice. It's very quiet. I find Mazda has the quietest sunroofs when they're open, which I don't know how they do it, but the wind buffeting system they have is fantastic. If you look on the top, it has these cutouts in it, and it seems to work very, very well. So I was literally astonished by that. And the trunk space is decent, but I think that it could have been a little bit larger in this hatch. It's not as big as I expected. It's not as big as my Mark 6 GTI was. I'm not sure exactly why that is. It might be because the rear is a little bit more sloped than the other hatches that are in the market, but again, decent space. Onto the entertainment system. Everyone cares about Apple CarPlay. This car, of course, has CarPlay in it. You can see it running right now. Interesting thing with Mazdas is they do not have touchscreens in their cars. So all the controls are going to be done through this joystick controller here. So I can move to the left and I can move to the right. I can also scroll through various options, and then I can click down. So if I want to go to Apple Music, I can go to the left side, but you can see it took a few clicks there, and now I can be in my Apple Music display, and I can change to radio, things like that here. And I can also go to the main Mazda screen. One gripe that I do have with the car, every time I get out of it, and I've looked through the settings, I can't find a fix for it, the electronic parking brake turns on every single time you turn off the car. That's fine, I get it, it's trying to be more safe and secure for you, but I park on flat ground in a driveway, and every time I get into the car, I put it in reverse, and the car doesn't want to move because I have to turn the e-brake off, but I don't remember ever turning the e-brake on, and there's no setting to disable automatic e-brake. But we're gonna go through the curves a little bit more here so you guys can see how it handles. Overall, those are my thoughts. I think this is a great premium segment car. I think the interior is of a higher level in terms of premiumness, comfort, being quiet, and it is a fun car to drive. But you know, if I had this car, I would definitely need an intake and exhaust. Not necessarily a tune, it makes plenty of power, but also like right here, it shows me I'm in second gear there. I'm gonna tap it to the side. It's kind of hard to tell what gear you're in. And the brakes, as I said, very linear, so I don't feel like this car would be great on track because there's not a lot of brake feel, but the all-wheel drive, you can see, is handling these corners very well, and there is a lot of torque once you're moving. This car is great as a momentum car, but in terms of getting off the line, I'll throw in a clip right here, it doesn't feel very quick at all. Right there, it just didn't let me downshift. I'm only at 3,000 RPM, and it just did not want to downshift. So, very interesting car overall. I thought this would be more of a modern day Mazda Speed 3. It is not. It is a Mazda 3 with power, and hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, leave a comment and give me a dislike. I don't mind the feedback. Appreciate you watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.